Now in Sunrise, 8 people killed in a deadly desert crash, a handful of them in the U.S. illegally. Why troopers are still wondering what could have caused this crash. We'll have those details ahead.
Plus, one woman claims employees at a local store have been working without air conditioning, how she's trying to help, and the company's response. That's still ahead.
And the state of Arizona looking to revoke licenses of shelters for undocumented immigrant children. How many are affected and the reason why. We'll have all this and more. Sunrise starts now.
You're watching Sunrise on KYMA News 11, where news comes first.
Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, September 21st, 2018. I'm Ivany Villalobos.
And I'm Blake Keller. Thanks so much for joining us on Sunrise this morning.
All right, so we have a lot to get through, but right now we want to go outside and take a look at that RV World Yuma sky cam. For our live look at our weather here this morning, that sun is still peeking out. 6:26 will be that time when it's expected to rise.
Looks so beautiful right behind those mountains. It's just a picturesque image right there.
Yeah, and then it's also it looks like a beautiful city for us here this morning, even though the sun is coming out. All right, let's take a look at your current temperatures for us here this morning. We are seeing those temperatures in the lower 80s for us here. And right now our graphics are not working, so we'll get to that later on, but our highs are expected to reach those triple digits yet again. We're looking at 102 for our highs today, and later on we'll talk about what our lows will be in our forecast.
Well, as part of his thank you tour, Mexico's President-elect Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador visited Mexicali Thursday as thousands gathered at the Civic Center.
Yeah, before taking office in January of next year, Lopez Obrador wants to make sure prices of gas and electric in border towns are the same in Mexico as they are north of the border. Now that his thank you tour does continue as we anxiously await his arrival to San Luis, Mexico later this morning. Joining him will be Yuma Mayor Doug Nichols, who was personally invited by the municipal president of San Luis, Rio Colorado, Santos Gonzalez Yasca.
They're expected to discuss border security and the economy.
But I'm sure the issue of safe and secure borders is going to be something he's focused on. He's put a lot of attention on the border and the border communities, and for him to leave out security, I'd be really surprised.
Now, the event will be held at 10 a.m. at El Bosque de la Ciudad. That's around 3 miles south of the border, just off of 7th Street. Stick with KYMA as we'll bring more updates on his visit to San Luis. Developing this morning, a deadly crash in the desert, 8 people killed in a head-on crash in Florence, Arizona.
Yeah, a few of those victims were in the country illegally, and this morning how troopers are still trying to figure out how one car veered out of its lane. Reporter John Genevosi has more.
Spot around a 15-minute drive south of Florence. Troopers say an SUV was heading north when a Buick going south crossed the center line and crashed into it. Take a look. You can still see car parts and broken glass scattered on and off the pavement. Metal parts and mangled plastic scattered in the dirt off the shoulder. Around 10 o'clock last night, 2 cars colliding head-on. DPS and Pinal County deputies racing to this remote spot off State Route 79.
When they got on scene, they advised our troopers that, hey, there's multiple fatalities out here. 8
killed and 3 others still fighting in the hospital. Troopers are now trying to figure out what caused the Buick to veer out of its lane.
It is dark in that area. It's a 2-lane highway. There's really no barrier.
Both the driver and the passenger in the Buick were killed. We're told 9 people were inside a Chevy Suburban, including 7 undocumented immigrants. It's unclear how they knew each other or if this was somehow tied to human smuggling. But DPS is now working with the Department of Homeland Security to figure out who they were.
This is going to take some time because a majority of our fatalities are not from the United States, and so we have to really involve our federal partners, get with consulates from other countries to try and make those notifications to those families so that we can close this.
Well, new light is being shed on a controversial arrest by an Arizona police officer. Body camera video of the arrest shows the traffic stop escalated quickly. In the video, you can see the Goodyear officer asking Armenta to exit the car and telling her she is under arrest. Now, she questions the officer and resists, and the officer punches and drags her toward his vehicle. Armenta says she was not resisting, and the officer, when the passenger of Armenta's vehicle exits the car, the officer then draws his weapon. Now, in the arresting officer's police report, he says he was pulling Armenta over because she had a suspended license. Armenta called the incident police brutality and has since hired a civil rights attorney and will pursue a civil suit. The Surprise Police Department is now investigating this incident.
Well, Arizona is taking steps to revoke the licenses of 13 shelters for unaccompanied immigrant children. The state's Department of Health Services audited Southwest Key after repeated reports of sexual abuse of minors at its shelter. It says the nonprofit submitted a report on employee background checks late and didn't prove its more than 2,000 employees passed the checks. Southwest Key says it will seek informal settlement talks. The state did not specify what would happen to the children.
Well, if you want a straw in California restaurants, you're going to have to ask for one. A new bill signed into law Thursday bans full-service restaurants from automatically handing out single-use straws. The measure is an effort to reduce plastic pollution. Americans throw away about 500,000 plastic straws every day, and Californians are feeling mixed about the legislation.
I just think it's a great way to get especially younger folks like myself to see that this is an actual problem and to be part of the solution.
I don't think I agree with that. I feel like I like drinking my cups with straws, my bobas with straw, I have a straw right here. So I don't really agree with that.
The new law doesn't apply to fast food restaurants or convenience stores. It goes into effect January 1st.
Well, gun control advocates have created a series of statues that are hoping to convince voters to consider the issue at the ballot box. The statues are called The Last Lockdown, and the 3D creations depict a scared child hiding under a school desk. This statue is one of 10 displayed at cities across the nation this past weekend. Activists and former Congresswoman from Arizona, Gabby Giffords, teamed up with a student activist to create these statues. Now, they will be displayed in 10 targeted congressional districts at various times leading up to the midterm elections.
New this morning, one woman claims a local store has been without air conditioning for weeks now. She spoke with News 11 about what she saw and how she's trying to help the employees and customers keep cool. Marissa Cruz has lived in Yuma for 16 years, and anytime she needs arts and crafts, she heads to Michael's. She knows how hot it can get in Yuma, so her last visit to the store was off.
It was really hot in there. And my son, he's asthmatic, and he's like, the flowers, this is bothering me.
Cruz visited the store Sunday when she asked an employee if the air conditioning was off.
It was just like sweat coming down, and she's just like, yes, the air's been done for 2 weeks.
Cruz says the employees can't speak out or leave because they need the job. So she called and called and called every day since she visited.
Supposedly that they were going to have water coolers, and there was no water coolers. I called yesterday to the Michael's, and they told me, no, there's no water coolers here. News
11 reached out to Michael's corporate office to see if they were aware of the problem and to see what they were doing to fix it.
Thank you for calling Michael's. You've reached the public relations line. I'm sorry we are unable to take your call at the moment.
But attempts to reach Michael's, even through Twitter, have been unsuccessful. Cruz says the whole situation is sad.
Michael's is a big chain, and they should have it fixed, regardless if it's an old building or not.
Now, we also reached out to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They say excessive exposure to heat in a workplace can cause heat-related illness and heat stroke. OSHA says if you think employees are at risk, to file a complaint with them. Ivany.
All right, Blake, thank you so much for that update with that story. 6:08 is your time. In your crime alert news this morning, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers arrested a local minor after he's suspected of smuggling a quarter-pound of fentanyl pills into the U.S. CBP officers say the 16-year-old from San Luis, Arizona, tried to bring the pills through the San Luis port of entry. A CBP canine alerted officers to the odor, and after a search, officers found a pair of duct tape packages strapped to the teen's thighs. CBP says the fentanyl has a value of nearly $10,500. These pills were then seized.
In Yuma, Border Patrol agents made 275 apprehensions in just a 48-hour period. 262 of those individuals were from countries other than Mexico, the majority being from Guatemala. 20 people had to be taken to the hospital, mostly back and ankle injuries after being dropped off the border wall, but others with lice infestation and highly contagious skin infections. Agents say this daily crisis is turning their border security mission into a humanitarian one.
Well, back here at home, pedestrians may have a better time passing through the San Luis Port of Entry on Monday. That's when the new pedestrian lanes will be ready to use. The official ribbon cutting will be on October 24th, so you can still expect construction delays until then. This new facility will have 10 lanes for pedestrians. The old facility, had 8, and there will also be a state-of-the-art technology there, and officials hope that this also will help speed up the process for people crossing back from Mexico on foot.
Well, Service Arizona has seen a 20% increase in the number of people signing up to be an organ and tissue donor on their vehicle registrations. Now, since October of last year, the Arizona Department of Transportation Motor Vehicle Division has allowed customers to easily choose to be a donor through registration on servicearizona.com. Previously, it could only be done at your local MVD. Now, ADOT says because licenses only require an updated photo every 12 years, the chances for motorists to choose to be a donor was limited as compared to vehicle registration that happens every 1 or 2 years.
Well, Yuma County remains the most unemployment county in Arizona and one of the most unemployed counties in America. Now, new August numbers shows that Yuma County's unemployment rate went up to 22%. It was 21% in July. And as for Arizona's unemployment rate, it remains the same as July and August at 4.6%.
All right, so today is Firehouse Fridays where we pick a winner. So congratulations to Christina Covarrubias, this week's winner of Firehouse Fridays. We'll be contacting you shortly to let you know how to claim your delivery of a free catering platter from Firehouse Subs. But if you want to win next week, head over to kyma.com to enter now. Well, still ahead on News 11 Sunrise. In your News 11 Healthline report, ground beef producers are issuing a recall due to a deadly E. coli outbreak. The amount who have become sick and what to look out for still to come.
And also in Sunrise, we're taking a look at your weather forecast for this Friday, what we can expect for today and this weekend, and a cool down perhaps right after the break.